This is Ken Kraetzer for Sons of the American Legion Radio. We are going to talk Army hockey tonight. The Black Knights have a couple of games coming up against AIG this week, and we have a chance to talk to the head coach of Army hockey, and that is Brian Riley. How are you, Coach? Happy New Year.
Doing well, Ken. Happy New Year to you. Thanks for letting me spend some time with you.
Oh, I always enjoy talking with you, Coach. And first off, tell us a little bit about, let's go back on the season so far. You've only played 3 games. You had the home and home with Bentley, and then the loss to AIG in mid-December. And the highlight was the 2-0 win over Bentley with your young goaltender, Justin Evanson. Maybe tell us about how that part of the season progressed.
Yeah, kind of crazy, Ken. We've had 10 games scheduled, but only played 3. We knew going into the season that it was going to be about, having the ability to adapt and, be willing to change in a moment's notice. And so as a result, only playing 3 games up to this point, I feel like we haven't really even established who we are as far as an identity for our team. It's almost like the first 3 games were a preseason, and now we're going to play 21 games in, I believe, 53 days. So we're going to find out here now, as we have a lot of games coming up in a short period of time.
Yeah, no, it's going to be, you're going to start playing some midweek games along with the weekend games. Tell us a little bit about now, the team got a chance to go home for the Christmas holiday. And since they've been back, what have you been working on? What has practice been like?
Yeah, so our last game, I believe, was December 15th against AIC. And we had talked about possibly staying over Christmas, but as time went on and the cadets had been here since July, I made the decision to allow them to go home and spend some time with their families. They were home for like 10 days, a longer break than we normally get over Christmas, but much needed. Like I said, I would do it again in a heartbeat. Guys came back on the 27th. And we planned on having about a week's worth of practice before we were scheduled to play Sacred Heart. It was like starting all over because we hadn't been on the ice for 10, 12 days. So we were just focusing on kind of getting our legs back underneath us, and we want to try to play a fast-paced game. So shorter practices with good pace. And the guys have had real good practices since we came back, but they are really looking forward to having an opportunity to play some games.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Now you're going to play 3 games this week, Wednesday and Thursday at home at the Tate Rink at 5:00, and then Sunday you're going to go out to Springfield to AIG for a 4:00 game. Tell us, we saw AIG at West Point for your senior night last year, and they are a very good team. Tell us a little bit about what your team will expect playing AIG this week.
Yeah, so they obviously were the best team in our league last year, and went out and knocked off the #1 team in the country in the NCAA regionals. They were again picked to be #1 in our league, and obviously off to a good start, 5-0 in the league. I think 6-2 overall. Just a really, really skilled team. They have a large group of foreigners, both Canadians, Europeans that are skilled, and they have some high-end players in our league. But they can play a skilled game, but they can also play a physical game. Eric Lang has done an unbelievable job putting together a team that I think, really plays to their identity. They start in goal with a kid by the name of Durante, who heck, I don't think he's lost but 2 or 3 games in the last 2 years. So for us, it's still really though about trying to play to an identity of who we want to be as a team. So I'm excited to see how our guys play tomorrow night. I don't think the last time we played them that it was I mean, the guys competed hard, and but we just made too many mental mistakes, and I'm hopeful that we'll cut down on some of those mistakes tomorrow, and it's always good to be playing at home in Tate Rink.
Now, one of the things that certainly you've got some very good goaltending and an outstanding experienced player in Trevin Kozlowski, and then in the win over Bentley, you played the young player Justin Evanson, who got the 2-0 shutout. Tell us a little bit about your goaltending at this point in the season.
Yeah, so obviously it seems like such a long time ago, but when we won that game where we came back and Justin was able to play here at Tate Rink against Bentley and had a shutout, we went back with Trevin that next Tuesday night against AIC because Trevin's been our #1 guy, and we just felt that was the right decision. But I had told them when they come back from Christmas that our first 2 games, which I thought was going to be Sacred Heart, but now it's obviously AIC, that both of them are going to play. So Justin will be starting for us tomorrow night in here, and then we'll come back with Trev on Thursday. So that will give each of them a game, and then we'll see what we're going to do Sunday with the schedule being what it's going to be with a lot of games in a short period of time. I think we're really going to need to have 2 guys that can all kind of alternate and or play a handful of games and then come back with the other guy. And we have a third goalie, a plebe, Gavin Abrick, who's, you know what, I'll be excited when he gets an opportunity because he showed that he certainly has a lot of potential.
We certainly had some depth at goal. Now, you've had 5 different players score in the 3 games. Maybe tell us a little bit about some of your playmakers and scoring players.
Yeah, you know what? We've actually got some goals from guys that have been playing on our 4th line, and so really, I don't think our guys that we're kind of counting on offensively have gotten going yet, but I'm hopeful now that we're back and we're getting ready to start up, that we will get some scoring from our what are perceived as our top guys, our power play guys, and then when you get secondary scoring from the guys that have been giving us the scoring, the guys, 4th line guys, 3rd line guys. I mean, that's what you're going to need to be successful. But we're really going to need for some of our returners that, top line of Krugs, Belos, and Abs. We need them to get in the score sheet. Eric Butte, we're going to need him playing a couple plebes, but yeah, so looking forward to that now. Again, we haven't played in so long, but I think some of these guys are hopefully ready to get on track.
Well, we have a special milestone we're going to want to talk about for a moment, but I got to ask you, looking at your schedule, that after these 3 games at AIG, you're scheduled to travel out to the Air Force Academy on the 15th and 16th. I got to ask you, does a rivalry in football carry over to hockey?
You know what? Obviously, I think we have a different relationship with Air Force than football does. I mean, we try to beat the hell out of each other for 120 minutes, right, on a weekend, and but I do have a good relationship with their coach and with their coaching staff. So yeah, I think it's a little different for football than it is for hockey, but obviously it's a rivalry where you want to be able to beat, because for us, Navy doesn't have a team. So this is obviously our service academy rivalry that we want to win. So we definitely want to beat each other, but I think we do have, like I said, we do have a little different relationship, I think, than the football team does.
Yes, absolutely. And it's unfortunate your annual rivalry game with Royal Military College of Canada was postponed. Hopefully that'll be reinstated next year.
Yeah, their league made a decision early not to have their season, so obviously that wiped out our game with them. But that's always fun. It's a great atmosphere, and anytime you have Canada versus U.S., there's that added excitement to it. Like tonight, the World Juniors, Canada and the U.S. It's always a good rivalry. And for us, the RMC series has been around Army hockey forever.
Yeah. Now you mentioned the World Junior Tournament. What do you see happening in that tournament? The college hockey world, I guess the amateur hockey world really is focusing on that.
Yeah, there's so many college hockey players in the tournament. Obviously, a lot playing for the United States. Canada's goalie is a goalie that goes to Northeastern. It's amazing to see the skill level of these young men at ages 17, 18. I think the U.S. will have their hands full tonight. Canada, this is one of the best World Junior teams that they've had, but Canada, U.S. has a great goalie. They've got skilled guys, and it's a one game deal. So it should be a great game tonight.
Well, we want to just recognize the milestone that you're approaching, your family's milestone. Your family, starting with your father, started coaching hockey in 1950 at West Point. Is that correct?
Yeah, 1950.
542 wins, and then your brother Rob coached the team. I have it at 257 wins.
Yeah.
And you're at 200. You had your 200th win in that win over Bentley in December. Just extraordinary what your family has contributed to West Point. Now, tell our audience a little bit about your father. One of the things I read is that he went to Dartmouth, and then he was a U.S. Navy pilot.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, as far as the 1,000 win goes, I'm not a math guy, but when you rattle off those numbers, I guess I'm the low man on the totem pole when it comes to my dad and my brother. But my dad, so he and his two brothers were great players at Dartmouth. Then in 1942, when the war broke out, my dad and a lot of his teammates left Dartmouth to join the service, and my dad joined the Navy to become a Navy pilot. And he did that for 2 years, and then wound up going back to Dartmouth to finish his schooling and his hockey career there. But when he was up there, Coach Blake was up there, so we got to know Coach Blake. And then when Coach Blake was down here as a coach, football coach and athletic director, he had my dad come down and tried to convince him to come in to coach. And my dad said he'd do it for a year, and he wound up staying for 36. So, I'm so grateful and thankful that I had the opportunity to grow up here at West Point and, be around the cadets on a daily basis and spend so much time up at what then was Smith Rink here at West Point. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever imagine or dream that I would be a coach here at West Point. So just really, really grateful that, like I said, to have grown up here, really grateful to have had the opportunity to raise my kids here. I've been really, really blessed, and hopefully we can get that 1,000th win here pretty soon, because I know my dad will have a big smile, and I'm sure my brother Rob will too.
Yes, absolutely. And your dad, of course, the coach of the 1960 American Olympic hockey team that won the gold medal out at Squaw Valley in California. What's your memory of that event? Certainly a milestone for American college hockey.
Well, obviously, that was kind of the first miracle, right? Growing up, I had heard a lot about it. But the amazing thing was when you talk to my dad, and I heard him talk to many reporters over the years, and I remember one of them said, you must have been nervous in that gold medal game before the Czechs. And my dad, without hesitation, said, nervous? He said, I've never been nervous for a hockey game. He said, try flying the Pacific with no instruments and having to land on an aircraft carrier. He said, that's when I was nervous. But, my dad, when he would tell his stories, obviously he had a whole boatload of hockey stories. But other than his family, when you heard him talk about serving in the Navy and being a pilot, you could see a real gleam in his eyes, and I used to just love to hear his stories. So the 60 Olympics, heard a lot about it, and it was actually Herb Brooks was my dad's last cut, and I became friends with Coach Brooks. My dad remained friends with Coach Brooks, so it was kind of neat to see him win the 80 Olympics and hear my dad and Coach Brooks tell stories over the years.
Absolutely. And I have to mention that I have an uncle who was a U.S. Navy carrier pilot out in the Pacific in World War II, so a colleague of your dad. Just maybe wrap up, what's your, with approaching this milestone, is there a favorite moment that you have coaching Army hockey?
I don't know if I necessarily have a favorite moment. I remember when I first became an assistant and being involved in that RMC rivalry was always kind of neat, because I grew up with that. And then when I became the head coach, there's been exciting wins along the way, but really it's been more about having the opportunity to coach just great young men, and that to me has really been the highlight of my coaching career, is having the opportunity to be around amazing young men that, hopefully in some small way that you've helped to shape and develop them to be the leaders that they became when they left here. So, like I said, I'm really blessed and fortunate to be able to say I'm a coach at West Point. I remember my dad in his retirement, they had a big dinner for him in the mess hall, and he at one point said, I haven't worked a day in the last 36 years. And I remember looking at my mom saying, what is he talking about? Like, he just worked 36 years. And now I know what he was talking about. Like, this isn't a job. This is an honor and a privilege every day to be able to go up to the Holliday Center and be around cadets, and actually all around the post here, to be around cadets and watch all these other teams and go to parades and just get a sense of pride of how amazing these young men and women are that come to West Point. So that's my highlight, is having the opportunity to be around cadets. I just consider myself very, very lucky.
Ken Kraetzer, thanks to Army head hockey coach Brian Riley. Always good to chat with him and hear about the legacy of the Riley family coaching at West Point since 1950. Army hockey will play AIG on Wednesday and Thursday this week at the Tate Rink at 5 p.m. They will travel to Sunday up to AIG in Springfield for a 4 o'clock game. For Sons of the American Legion Radio, this is Ken Kraetzer.